Most tornadoes follow the rules. They touch down, they move northeast, they lift, and they're gone. You shelter in place, you wait it out, and when the roar stops, you come out and assess the damage. That's how it's supposed to work. But the tornadoes we're counting down today didn't follow the rules. These are the ones that turned around when you thought they'd passed. The ones that followed the exact road you were driving on to escape. The ones that came back for the same town 30 years later like they had unfinished business. The ones that moved so fast that running was never an option to begin with. And the ones that sat down on a single neighborhood and refused to move until there was nothing left. We're talking about tornadoes that behaved less like weather and more like something with a target. Tornadoes that changed direction mid-path and hit people who had already exhaled. Tornadoes that tracked highways full of evacuees and found them anyway. And one tornado that came back for the same city 3 separate times across 14 years, hitting nearly the same street each time. This isn't about the deadliest or the widest. This is about the tornadoes that seem to know exactly where you were going. Number 10. Cordova, Alabama. April 27, 2011. You survived the first tornado at 5:20 in the morning, and you spend the rest of the day cleaning up the wreckage of your neighborhood and checking on your neighbors and telling yourself the worst is over. And then 12 hours later, as you're still pulling debris out of your yard, a second tornado comes for the exact same town, and this one is stronger than the first one. Cordova, Alabama is a community of just over 2,000 people, and on April 27, 2011, the deadliest tornado day in the United States since the 1930s, it is hit not once, but twice. The first tornado strikes before dawn at EF3 intensity, heavily damaging the town and leaving residents shaken but alive. Then, as part of the same historic outbreak, a second and more powerful tornado tracks the same path later that afternoon, this time at EF4 intensity, and finds a town that is already broken trying to put itself back together. Here's the worst part. People who had survived the morning tornado and spent the day digging through the damage now have to run again, except now the streets are full of debris from the first strike. Visibility is limited, and the same town that had warned its residents about the first tornado has to warn them all over again about something worse heading straight for what's already destroyed. The EF4 tornado carves a 127-mile path through 7 Alabama counties. But it is Cordova that absorbs 2 direct hits in a single day. Here's the kicker. 13 people are gone from Cordova across both storms combined, with 54 injuries. The remarkable part isn't just that the town was hit twice. It's that it was hit twice on the same day by 2 different tornadoes as part of the same outbreak, while residents were still standing in the rubble of the first one. Cordova would spend years rebuilding, and 15 years later, that rebuilding is still not complete. Fatalities, 13. Number 9. Gainesville, Georgia, 1903 and 1936. The first tornado finds Gainesville, Georgia in June of 1903 and kills over 100 people, and the town rebuilds and recovers, and 33 years pass, and people grow up and have children, and those children grow up and start families of their own. And then on April 6, 1936, at 8:27 in the morning while those families are sitting down for breakfast, the tornado comes back. In 1903, the tornado strikes the cotton mill district where workers, most of them women and children, are destroyed along with the mills themselves. The town of Gainesville is shattered, but it recovers. And in the years that follow, it rebuilds itself into what the Atlanta Constitution calls the Queen City of the North Georgia Mountains, a busy manufacturing hub of nearly 9,000 people proud of its modern buildings and its downtown square. Here's the worst part. The 1936 tornado that returns to Gainesville doesn't just come back. It comes back twice as hard and brings a partner. 2 F4 tornadoes merge directly over downtown Gainesville at 8:27 in the morning, destroying 14 blocks of the business district in minutes and striking the Cooper Pants factory where 125 workers, most of them women and girls, have just arrived for the Monday morning shift. The building collapses and catches fire simultaneously. 60 of those workers never come home. It remains the single highest death toll in any building ever struck by a tornado in American history. Here's the kicker. Historians note that Gainesville is the only town of its size in American history to be catastrophically devastated by tornadoes twice. Over 200 people are gone in 1936 alone, on top of the 100+ from 1903. The tornado didn't care that the town had already survived once. It came back and it brought something worse. Fatalities. 100 plus, 1903/203, 1936. Number 8. Gwynn, Alabama, April 3, 1974. The tornado is moving at 75 miles per hour, which is faster than most people drive on the interstate, and it is an F5 with winds of 285 miles per hour. And it is doing this at night, completely wrapped in rain, completely invisible in the darkness, and it is covering ground so fast that by the time anyone in its path hears the roar, it is already on top of them with no time to do anything except hope. The 1974 super outbreak produces 148 tornadoes in 24 hours across 12 states, but the Gwynn tornado stands apart from everything else that day for one specific and terrifying reason. It holds the record as the fastest forward-moving violent tornado ever documented in American history. 75 miles per hour. That is not the wind speed. That is how fast the tornado itself is traveling across the ground. At that speed, a tornado 20 miles away reaches you in 16 minutes, and at night, wrapped in rain, you cannot see it coming at all. Here's the worst part. The tornado strikes Gwynn, Alabama at 9 in the evening in complete darkness. Residents hear the roar and have almost no time to respond before the F5 core is already over their homes. The business district is flattened. 55 businesses, the hospital, city hall, and 3 churches are demolished in minutes. 2,000 residents are left without homes. And because the tornado is moving at 75 miles per hour, anyone who gets in a car to flee is essentially trying to outrun something that is already traveling faster than they can safely drive. Here's the kicker. The forward speed of the Gwynn tornado means it covers its entire 101-mile path in just over 2 hours. 28 people are gone. The tornado doesn't sit and grind. It hunts across the landscape at highway speed in the dark. And by the time you know it's there, it has already passed over you and moved on to the next town. Fatalities. 28, number 7, Wichita Falls, Texas. Terrible Tuesday. April 10th, 1979. You get in your car because a tornado is coming and you think the car gives you options. You can drive south, you can drive east, you can stay ahead of it, and then you look in your rearview mirror and the tornado is following the same road you're on, and it is gaining on you, and the traffic in front of you is stopped and you realize you have driven yourself directly into the worst possible place you could be. The Wichita Falls tornado of April 10, 1979 is known locally as Terrible Tuesday, and the reason it earns this specific entry on this list is not just its total death toll, but the specific breakdown of that death toll. Of the 42 people who lose their lives in Wichita Falls that day, 25 are in vehicles. And of those 25, 16 had left perfectly intact homes. Homes that the tornado never touched to try to outrun the storm in their cars. The tornado didn't find them in their houses. It found them on the roads they used to escape. Here's the worst part. The F4 tornado, nearly 1.5 miles wide, tracks directly along Southwest Parkway and then along U.S. Highway 287 as people are streaming east trying to get out of its path, and the tornado follows that same road and finds them in gridlocked traffic. Vehicles are thrown 200 yards. Cars and trucks are found in piles against bridge abutments. A mother and her daughter trying to flee are among those who never make it. The tornado moves through the south side of the city, destroying 2 shopping centers, entire residential neighborhoods, and a mobile home park. But the highway is where it collects the most of its toll. Here's the kicker. Afterward, emergency management officials document the Wichita Falls event specifically because of what it reveals about human behavior. That in a tornado emergency, the instinct to flee in a vehicle can be more dangerous than staying in place, and that a tornado following the same road you're driving on turns your escape route into a trap. 42 people gone. The houses of 5 of the vehicle fatalities were never even touched by the tornado. Fatalities. 42. Number 6. Jarrell, Texas. May 27, 1997. The tornado is moving the wrong direction. Most tornadoes move northeast. This one is moving southwest, and it has already passed just to the west of the Double Creek Estates subdivision once, and the people inside those homes are watching it move away from them, and some of them are beginning to think they've been spared. And then the tornado turns. The Gerald F5 of May 27, 1997, is one of the most documented examples in tornado history of a storm appearing to deliberately target a specific neighborhood. The tornado approaches from the north, moving south-southwest, already the opposite of normal tornado behavior, and passes just west of Double Creek Estates. Then, at maximum size, it pivots directly into the subdivision. It expands to 3/4 of a mile wide, and then it slows down to a crawl. Here's the worst part. The tornado sits over Double Creek Estates for approximately 3 minutes at F5 intensity with winds over 260 miles per hour. 3 minutes doesn't sound like much until you understand what 3 minutes of F5 winds does to a subdivision. 40 homes are swept completely off their foundations. The pavement is ripped off 3 county roads in 500-foot sections. The earth itself is scoured 18 inches deep in some areas. Cars are thrown and compressed into unrecognizable shapes and found flattened in open fields covered in mud and grass. When it is over, there are no partially damaged homes in the core path. There are only foundations. Here's the kicker. All 27 people who lose their lives are in Double Creek Estates, the specific neighborhood the tornado turned to find. Investigators later note that the tornado's behavior in turning directly into that subdivision and then slowing to a crawl over it specifically is one of the more unsettling examples of tornado movement on record. The storm chose the wrong direction, turned back, found the neighborhood, and stayed. Fatalities. 27. Number 5. Tri-State Tornado. March 18, 1925. The tornado is moving at 73 miles per hour across Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and it has been on the ground for over 2 hours, and it has already taken hundreds of lives, and it is not slowing down, and there is no warning system, and there is no radar, and the only people who know it exists are the ones who are already in it, or the ones standing in its path watching the sky go dark at 2 in the afternoon. The Tri-State Tornado of March 18, 1925, is the deadliest tornado in American history, with 695 lives taken across a 219-mile path, and what earns it this specific entry on this list is the combination of its forward speed and its duration. This tornado doesn't just move fast, it moves fast for 3.5 hours without lifting. The fastest a person could travel on the roads of rural Illinois in 1925 was maybe 20 to 25 miles per hour. The tornado is moving at 73. There is no vehicle, no horse, no human being on foot who can get out of its way once it is bearing down on them. Here's the worst part. The tornado crosses from Missouri into Illinois and hits Murfreesboro, where 234 people are gone in a single town. It then hits DeSoto, then West Frankfort, then dozens of smaller communities, one after another, the tornado moving so fast between them that people in the next town sometimes have only minutes from when the previous town is struck to when the roar arrives at their own door. The Longfellow School in Murfreesboro is struck with children inside. 13 students gone. The DeSoto School is struck. 33 more children gone. Here's the kicker. The forward speed of the tri-state tornado means that for the entire 219 miles, the people in its path are not dealing with something that is passing through. They are dealing with something that is arriving faster than any warning can travel, faster than any vehicle can move, faster than any human decision can be made and acted on. 695 people. Not one of them could have outrun it. Fatalities. 695. Number 4. Flint, Michigan. June 8, 1953. You are at the Flint Drive-In Theater watching a film on a Tuesday evening when the tornado warning comes through, and you do what seems like the logical thing. You start your car and you drive toward the exit, and in doing so you join a stream of vehicles all trying to leave at the same time, and the tornado is tracking directly toward the drive-in and the exit road, and some of the people trying to escape drive straight into its path. The Flint, Michigan tornado of June 8, 1953 kills 115 people and is one of the deadliest tornadoes ever to strike an urban area in American history. And what gives it its specific place on this list is the drive-in theater moment. The moment where the tornado's path and the evacuation route and human decision-making all converge into a single catastrophic outcome. People who might have survived by staying low in their vehicles instead fled and met the tornado on the road. Here's the worst part. The F5 tornado moves through a densely populated area of Flint with winds exceeding 200 miles per hour, destroying thousands of structures and demonstrating complete indifference to the difference between brick buildings and wood frame homes. Entire neighborhoods are obliterated. Buildings and wood frame homes. Entire neighborhoods are obliterated. People in supposedly strong structures find that against an F5, the construction type doesn't matter. The tornado is over a mile wide at points, and it tracks directly through residential areas where families are home for the evening, giving them almost no time to react. Here's the kicker. 115 people gone in a single tornado event in a major American city makes Flint one of the rare urban tornado disasters that rivals some of the worst rural events in history. What makes it haunting is that the drive-in theater specifically, the people who tried to leave, who started their cars and drove toward the exit, illustrates how a tornado that appears to be coming from one direction can find you exactly where your escape instinct sent you. Fatalities. 115 Number 3. Bridge Creek Moor, Oklahoma. May 3, 1999. You're driving south on the interstate trying to get away from the tornado, and the car in front of you slows down, and you look up and the tornado is not behind you anymore. It has shifted and it is now ahead of you, and you are sitting in stopped traffic on a highway in Oklahoma with a 300-mile-per-hour tornado between you and anywhere safe. The Bridge Creek Moor tornado of May 3, 1999 holds the record for the highest wind speeds ever measured on Earth, 301 miles per hour recorded by a Doppler radar unit approximately 100 feet above the ground. It is an F5 over a mile wide that tracks 38 miles through the Oklahoma City metro area for nearly an hour and a half, and it kills 36 people and injures 583 others. But what puts it on this list is what it does to the people who try to flee, and what it starts for the city of Moore specifically. Here's the worst part. The tornado is so wide that people several miles away from the visible funnel are already inside its outer circulation and don't know it. Survivors describe the walls of their homes breathing in and out like lungs, expanding and contracting with the pressure changes, before the entire structure explodes. In some neighborhoods, the destruction is so complete that it is impossible to tell where streets used to be or where individual homes once stood. The tornado doesn't just destroy Moore, it erases it. Here's the kicker. This is the first time the tornado comes for Moore. It will return in 2003 along nearly the same path. It will return again in 2013, again along nearly the same path, again at EF5 intensity. 3 separate tornadoes across 14 years, all tracking through the same stretch of Oklahoma City suburbs, all hunting the same geography. The people of Moore don't just have to survive a tornado, they have to survive the knowledge that it will probably come back. Fatalities. 36, Number 2. El Reno, Oklahoma. May 31, 2013. The tornado is moving southeast. You position yourself to the northeast because that is the textbook safe location. The tornado is moving away from you, and you have a clear view, and you are exactly where decades of storm chasing experience tells you to be. And then the tornado stops moving southeast. It turns north. Then it loops. And in 30 seconds, it expands from a manageable funnel to 2.6 miles wide. And it accelerates from 20 miles per hour to 55 miles per hour. And it is now moving directly toward the position where every storm chaser in the area has parked. The El Reno tornado of May 31, 2013 is the widest tornado ever recorded in human history at 2.6 miles across, and it earns the second spot on this list because of what it does to the people trying to understand it and escape it simultaneously. The tornado first moves southeast, then turns abruptly north, then executes a complete loop in its path, then resumes moving east, all while expanding to record width, accelerating to highway speed, and wrapping itself in so much rain that its true size is invisible until you are already inside it. Here's the worst part. Tim Samaras is one of the most respected tornado researchers alive, with over 20 years of experience. He and his son Paul and their colleague Carl Young are in their vehicle trying to reposition when the tornado's sudden turn and expansion catches them. Their car is thrown approximately half a mile. Tim is found still buckled in the passenger seat. Paul and Carl are found ejected, half a mile away from the car, half a mile from each other. They are the first professional storm chasers in history to be taken by a tornado. The National Weather Service later calls El Reno the most dangerous tornado in storm observing history. Here's the kicker. All 8 people who lose their lives in El Reno are in vehicles. The tornado didn't just change direction once, it hunted, it looped back, and it found everyone who thought they had positioned themselves correctly. Fatalities, 8, including 4 storm chasers. Number 1. Moore, Oklahoma, 1999, 2003, and 2013. You rebuild your house after the 1999 tornado, and you live in it for 14 years, and you raise your kids in it, and you think about leaving, but you stay because Moore is your home. And on May 20th, 2013, the tornado comes back down the same street, through the same neighborhood, and takes your house again. Moore, Oklahoma sits in one of the most tornado-prone corridors on Earth, but what separates Moore from every other community in American history is the specificity of what keeps happening to it. In 1999, an F5 with the highest winds ever recorded on Earth tracks through Moore and destroys it. In 2003, an F4 tracks through Moore along nearly the identical path. In 2013, an EF5 tracks through Moore along nearly the identical path again, killing 24 people, including 7 children at Plaza Towers Elementary School. 3 separate tornadoes, 3 separate dates across 14 years, the same geography hunted each time. Here's the worst part. The 2013 tornado hits Plaza Towers Elementary School directly. 13 children are sheltering under a wall inside when the roof is torn off and the wall collapses on top of them. 7 of those children do not survive. One 9-year-old boy uses his body to shield a classmate and saves her life. Here's the kicker. Moore has now been struck by violent tornadoes over 20 times in recorded history. Meteorologists have studied why the same geography keeps getting hit, and the answer involves the specific terrain, the proximity to moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and the atmospheric patterns that favor tornado formation in that exact corridor year after year. The tornadoes aren't random. They keep coming back to Moore because Moore sits in the path of something that forms in the same place, moves in the same direction, and finds the same city. The people of Moore know this. They stay anyway. And they build shelters, and they watch the sky, and they wait for the next time. Fatalities, 36, 1999, /0, 2003, /24, 2013, 10 tornadoes. 10 completely different ways of being hunted. Some hunted by changing direction mid-path and turning directly into neighborhoods that thought they'd been spared, like Gerald's F5 that pivoted and slowed to a crawl over a single subdivision. Some hunted by following the exact roads people were using to escape, like Wichita Falls and El Reno, where the flight from the storm became the thing that put people directly in its way. Some hunted by coming back for the same place years or decades later, like Gainesville returning to the same Georgia town 33 years apart, and Moore absorbing 3 direct hits across 14 years. And some hunted by simply moving so fast there was nowhere to go, like the Ginn tornado covering ground at 75 miles per hour in the dark, or the Tri-State tornado running at highway speed for 3.5 hours without lifting, covering 219 miles before it was done. What all of these tornadoes share is the thing that makes them different from a storm that simply destroys. They created a specific and particular terror, the terror of trying to do the right thing and finding that the tornado had already anticipated where you would go, of running in what seemed like the safe direction and discovering the tornado had turned, of surviving and rebuilding and going on with your life, and then watching the sky go dark again over the same street. Some storms pass through. These ones came looking. Sleep tight.